Do you like to watch switchers bang cars in a yard, or various kinds of bang track or electrical mishaps? Or would you like to see a construction update to see how the home remodel has impacted my model railroad? Hi, this is Burr Stewart, and welcome to part 139 of my continuing series of model railroad operations videos. Today, we'll just do a little bit of switching, and I'll give you a little bit of a construction update on why the layout is not really working properly at the moment. So let's get right into it. See that headlight in the distance? It must mean something. 5-chime horn. Scott brought over this brass NW-2 that Brian Elchlepp's been helping him detail, and we were testing it out. Nice grade crossing there. And I'll show you the box that this came in so you know what you're looking at. It's a NW-2U, which means it was rebuilt by the Western Pacific with a 567B engine. But it looks like we're about to have a bang. Bang! Oh, we love our bangs here. In fact, that's the main purpose of this video, is just to make sure we have a bang with trains. Here we go. Now you see that bang? It didn't even couple the couplers. That's not good. See that? I haven't had a chance to lubricate those properly, I guess. Now we're going to give it another try. But for some reason, the engine went dead, and I'll explain why that happened in a minute.
Why is it doing that? Something's going on in this thing.
So after we got it running again, we got to go in for one more bang. And we should have started the sound up first, but never mind. Here we go. You ready? Oh, nice. That's like more of a kiss than a bang. That's only the second kiss we've had on this channel. Very nice. 2 blasts means we're going forward. Of course, some of you have noted that you don't generally make that amount of noise in the yard, but it's all right. We can live with it for now. So the assignment here was to take these new cars over to the Interbay yard, and he did that and ran around the cut and shoved it into one of the tracks in Interbay to be classified at some future time.
I didn't have a shopping list and really didn't have anything.
And actually, the truth is I haven't even painted the wheels rust color on these new cars, so we'll have to pull them back to Bayside as soon as we have a chance. But as you'll see later in the video, we're not going to have a chance for a while because of all the construction. But anyway, here comes the switcher back across the Squid Bridge because we were breaking it in and trying to figure out if it had any issues. Now watch this. That was picking the switch, and we straightened it out and went back into the yard. But the reason it picked the switch is because there was a little piece of grit in the switch points, and because these trucks are brass trucks and they're not exactly even. So to make it up to you, I went over to the Argo yard and we pulled a train out of staging. And I just wanted to show this typical 1973 Burlington Northern consist with all kinds of different paint jobs and run-through engines in the case of this Western Pacific engine, the Boeing tool cars, and even a Milwaukee switcher in the background. That's what we're looking for. What we were looking for was the Western Pacific boxcar you see there on the left. All right, that'll do. We found it. But we were, unfortunately, not paying attention to switch points, and so we shorted out. That's my fault. Well, that's all the operations we've been doing on the layout lately, but I did want to show you the construction update since some of you have been asking about it. And first of all, we can see here some big sky blue F units that Brian Elchlepp's been working on, and they'll be running over here soon. He wanted to get that blue color just right. And so let's just take a tour of how the layout's been impacted by the construction. You can see on the right, the Bayside yard's all emptied out just for safety. On the left, we covered the Stacy Street yard with a tarp and some of the Burlington yard. And they built a access platform so they could get into the crawl space there. And I don't know how long that'll be up, but as soon as they take it down, I'll be able to start putting the layout back together. And then, of course, that blocking there was so that the electricians could get into the electrical panel and shove the new wires in there. So that's pretty cool. And we're also going to replace that water shutoff valve, that main valve. So I had to take the bridge out of service and remove it so that they'd be able to work there with the torches and whatever they're going to use for that job. And so as a result of this, the rest of the layout is pretty much of a mess. I've got all the stuff from over there in Stacy parked here in the Argo yard, blocking the main line. And you'll see, you saw this train come in from staging, but that's as far as I can get out of staging. We're also working on some construction of buildings in this South Seattle area. Like I said, you saw that engine a couple minutes ago. And then on the other side of the layout, of course, I'm storing everything from the kitchen, which is being remodeled down here, as well as trying to get rid of a bunch of stuff behind the layout so that I can do a model of the West Seattle steel mill in the future. But this is what a mess the layout room is in. And behind those green curtains there are the glass doors that go on the display cabinets for the engines. Now in there you can see that I've got a direct shot into the West Seattle area, and we'll be putting more yard in that hole there. That'll be cool. I'm also in the process of selling some of my excess rolling stock, and these boxes on the right are things that I took to the Boeing swap meet a few weeks ago and didn't sell. I did sell about 30 cars, but I hope to do better in the spring at the Monroe Show, which is the third weekend in February, if any of you are in the Seattle area. And there's the Interbay yard. It's not too impacted by all this, other than our lack of progress. I would like to get those sand towers completed, and you can see some cleaning cars there in the foreground of the yard, because we'll need to do a lot of track cleaning to get rid of the dust. Of course, that's the Dravis Street overpass, as you know. And the yard is completely plugged up with all the trains that we had in Stacy Street yard. Now, if we look off to the right towards downtown Seattle, you can see how much we're using this for storage rather than operations. And I can't resist looking at this C-636. Beautiful engine. On the stairs leading up to the rest of the house, I have a bunch of display cabinets for engines, and I had to empty those out because I didn't want the workmen to smash the glass doors that are on there. And that just shows you that we'll have it all put back together again someday, but right now it's temporarily taken apart. So that pretty much wraps it up for today. And I hope you enjoyed the rest of the videos on my channel. Look at part 127 if you have a chance. I just noticed that the other day and tightened up the closed captions on it. And so, without further ado, this is Burr Stewart wishing you much fun with trains.
Yeah, part of the reason I got distracted and was okay with that because I didn't have a shopping list and really didn't have anything that I wanted to look for.